Israeli Defense Ministry publishes a video showing one of the Arrow air defense system launches during the ongoing war. These are pictures, in fact, coming in. And Rajesh Pawar is joining us from Tel Aviv for more details on that. Talk to us about this particular video that has been put out. The Arrow air defense system, what exactly is this, Rajesh?
Look, this Arrow air defense system is basically a long-range system. There was Arrow 2 and now this Arrow 3 system has been put into place. This has been placed primarily in the south of Israel, in the area of Eilat, and this has been used to intercept cruise and ballistic missiles fired from Yemen into south of Israel. It has already intercepted 2 to 3 missiles, and this is the latest long-range air defense system of Israel.
Coming back to you in a moment from now, Rajesh getting us those details as far as the Arrow 3 is concerned, also known as the missile killer. Israel continues with its relentless offensive in the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, Israel Army has released videos showing escalating ground operations in Gaza. Heavy fighting raging near Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital. Those are videos that have been doing the rounds and have gone viral. Israel claimed that troops delivered 300 liters of fuel to Gaza's main hospital for urgent medical purposes. They, however, added that Hamas prohibited the hospital from accepting the fuel. Babies have been taken off incubators after power outage. Massive attacks from Israeli side. It was reported that the hospital went out of service. Doctors are now manually performing artificial respiration on 36 babies.
The IDF has repeatedly stated, our war is with Hamas, not with the people of Gaza. We're doing everything we can to mitigate harm to civilians and increase humanitarian aid. In the last 24 hours, the IDF has delivered 300 liters of fuel to Shifa Hospital's doorstep. Yet the fuel remains untouched after Hamas threatened hospital staff.
Hospitals bearing the brunt of the Israel-Hamas war. An Indonesian-funded hospital in Gaza has turned dark after intense Israeli shelling, but its doctors remain on duty. My colleague Rajesh Pawar brings you this ground report.
What you see in the camera in the far distance is a Jabalia refugee camp, and you can see smoke rising out of the buildings there. The buildings in that camp are totally destroyed, but there's continuous firing going on between IDF and Hamas in this area, and we can hear the firing continuously. After every few minutes there's all this black smoke you see. That is all because of arty firing by IDF in this area. And still we can hear, and we can continuously hear humming of the drone in the sky. This continuous noise of humming all the time in the sky, and at the same time the IDF is pounding the targets in Jabalia camp. These lights you see in the foreground, they are the lights of Indonesian hospital near Jabalia refugee camp, and you can see the whole area is dark except for this small piece of land which is Indonesian hospital, and it has been allowed to have electricity, and they have not cut off electricity from this hospital, so we can see that. But on both sides, if you see the plumes of smoke, but not over the hospital, and then towards the Jabalia camp, still there are plumes of smoke can be seen in the air, and this area is continuously being bombarded, and we hear artisans landing there after every few minutes. Can you see those 3 lights in the air? They are the illumination rounds of mortars. These illumination rounds are used to spot targets at night when it is dark. We can hear constant humming of 2 UAVs, the tiny dots in the sky you can see continuously humming over these targets, and when you fire these illuminating rounds, they illuminate the ground so that these UAVs can identify the targets to be neutralized, and then artillery fire or air fire is directed onto those targets, and that's what we are seeing happening right now. Still there is one illuminating round in the air. You can see it's falling down there, and in last 2-3 minutes this is the 5th illuminating round fired by the IDF mortars on this particular area, which is little west of the Indonesian hospital near Jabalia refugee camp. This is Rajesh Pawar from Gaza-Israel border for India Today.
When staying with Israel, Israel continues to pound Gaza. The Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was hinted at a potential deal to free hostages being held in the Gaza Strip. Hamas suspends hostage negotiations over Israeli forces strikes of Al-Shifa hospital. More on this report.
Bloodshed continues in Israel and Gaza Strip. Israel has been relentlessly launching airstrikes on the Palestinian enclave. Sadly, the misery of war has engulfed civilians in Gaza. Israeli bombing at the Al-Shifa hospital has really worsened the crisis. Explosions rung out when women and children trudged down the road in order to flee northern Gaza as the war only deepens. Meanwhile, the joint Arab-Islamic summit hosted by Saudi Arabia called for immediate cessation of military operations in Gaza Strip. The world is still divided over the deadly Israel-Hamas war. Pro-Palestinian and pro-Israel protests have erupted across the globe. In UN, India votes in favor of a resolution that condemns Israeli settlement activities in the occupied Palestine. Israel is meanwhile fighting a multi-front war facing Hezbollah along the Lebanon border. Cross-border attacks continue unabated while it's the innocent civilians ultimately who continue to pay the price. Bureau Report, India Today.
And Rajesh continues, in fact, to be with us. Rajesh, the concern right now obviously has got to do with the fact that in hospitals, pictures of which, in fact, have been put out, and your ground reports as well, there is, in fact, a huge crisis. Doctors have gone to the extent that of saying that patients, in fact, who need surgeries are the ones who are definitely going to die. What has Israel said as far as this particular medical crisis and emergency in Gaza is concerned?
Look, as far as the crisis in the hospitals is concerned, what Israel is saying is this all is a part of information warfare by Hamas, because they had provided a safe passage to the patients in these hospitals, where they believe that under these hospitals lies the headquarters of Hamas. At the same time, they said they have provided the ambulances for the patients who are in ICU or who are critical to be evacuated, and they had provided a safe passage. And when the IDF was providing safe passage for these patients from these hospitals, they were attacked by anti-tank weapons by Hamas terrorists. And also, they are saying that they have given about 300 liters of fuel to these hospitals so the generators can run and the critical care to the patients can be given. But I would like to tell you one more thing here before we go on another story, is that right now escalation is taking place in the north. Israel has dropped leaflets into southern parts of Lebanon, urging civilians to leave south of Lebanon, which is an indication that probably a big air offensive is going to be launched against south of Lebanon by the Israeli Air Force. Over to you.
Thanking you for the moment, Rajesh, getting us those details as far as the condition in Gaza is concerned. Amid Israel's mounting offensive in Gaza, India's big vote against Israel. India has voted in favor of a resolution that condemned Israeli settlement activities in Palestinian territory. India was among the 145 nations that voted in favor of the resolution, along with Bangladesh, Bhutan, China, France, Japan, Malaysia, Maldives, Russia, South Africa, Sri Lanka and the UK. Voting against Israel settlement were US and Canada, among 7 other countries. The resolution condemned Israel's settlement activities in Palestine, including East Jerusalem, and in the occupied Syrian Golan, and other activities involving the confiscation of land, disruption of livelihood of protected persons, the forced transfer of civilians, and the annexation of land, whether de facto or through international legislation.